Welcome back to Two and a Half Chicks. On today's episode, we talk about sketchy situations, including stories of weird phenomenon, creepy experiences, some with no explanation, some that seem to be ghosts, and maybe one with a guardian angel. Brian shares what risky lengths he was willing to go to, well, get a piece of ass, and he gives us the skinny on dirty massage parlors. That leads into a longer discussion on happy ending massages. How do you know a place offers the service? Do they do it on women? Because I'm super curious. The variety of his experiences, money spent, and that he faced up to calling it an addiction. We talk about why people are inclined to pay for touch, and what Brian experienced as a massage therapist non-sexually. Join us to hear the details on these stories and more. Welcome back to Two and a Half Chicks. It's me, Tess, and Monica, and Brian.
Hello.
How's everyone doing tonight?
Good.
We're great. It's cold.
It is cold. It's cold in California, too, so I can't imagine how cold it is over there.
Don't talk about cold. I'm in Reno, for crying out loud. It's freaking freezing here, people.
It's worse than New Jersey.
Yeah.
Today it's pretty cold in Jersey. It's windy cold, which is the worst kind of cold. Oh.
I wish I was in that cold.
So talk about chilling. Today we decided we're gonna talk a little bit about Brian, help me out. What are we gonna talk about? We're gonna talk about like spooky situations, creepy situations.
Exactly.
That we've gotten ourselves into.
Like, unbeknownst to you, or, you said, this could be a little bit sketchy, but I'm going to do it anyway. Those kind of scenarios.
Roll the dice.
Yes, exactly.
I don't know that unless something comes to me while you're talking, I don't put myself in a lot of creepy situations or risky situations, so I don't know what I have to contribute, but definitely I'm very interested in hearing what stories you guys have, and if something comes to me, I'll share it.
I have one major story, but hopefully I can think of something once Brian and we all start talking.
Do you want to think of your major story first? You want to tell us your major story first?
But it's only one story. What if I only have one story? I'm going to be done.
You want to save it for later in the episode?
It's not like I got 1,000, Monica.
Okay. So this is a story that I had when there was a hurricane here in Jersey in 2011, Hurricane Irene. And I have to say it was a low IQ story for me because I shouldn't have done what I did. But I did it anyway. So I was by myself. I know my boys at that time, they would go and stay at the weekend with their dad. And it was Hurricane Irene and it was raining really hard outside. I had just taken myself to my room, and in my room, my main window, looks out into the side street of my house. So I was about to go to sleep. I was about to turn off the light. And all of a sudden I hear somebody yelling, help in the streets.
Oh my goodness, that is spooky.
So a little bit of a backstory here. A year before that, my neighbor, this is a really sad story. My neighbor's mom was climbing up the ramp to her house and she had a heart attack. And my neighbor, her daughter was calling help at the top of her lungs and nobody heard her.
Oh, wow. Wait, but is this the help you heard?
Yeah.
No, this was
like,
a year before.
From the past. That is creepy.
I think I had that in my head, that I felt so bad that she had yelled for help and I did not hear her that night, and her mom died.
Oh man.
On the stairs because she couldn't get her back and she yelled for help and nobody came. But it was, to be fair, It was 2:00 in the morning. So, everybody was sleeping.
Yeah.
But that night it was like, I'm going to say 11:30, and I heard out of my window, help. So I looked out my window and everybody's light, people with their lights, their porch lights and stuff. I saw a woman with an umbrella walking in the middle of the street. She was in it was summertime. It was like August. So she had shorts, but she had a rain jacket on. It was like light color.
And this was in your neighborhood?
This was in my neighborhood on the street right by my house, like on the side of because my house is on a corner. Yeah,
listen, Monica lives in a pretty normal, this isn't where you
very
find a homeless person walking down the road being weird.
No, you can't. No, it's not like a ritzy area or anything, but it's a normal suburban neighborhood.
Yep.
Right. So I see her walking down the street and I know I saw her walking down the street, and I opened the window and I said, do you need something? And she just kept walking and she just kept saying, help. So I thought like she needed something. And I had that memory in the back of my head that my neighbor died a year ago. So this is where I lost my IQ points. I ran down the stairs. I put on like a raincoat. I ran down the stairs. And I went out to the side street and she was just walking away. And I said, and I was yelling at her at the top of my lungs, do you need help?
You didn't
She did
dream
not-
this, Monica? This is real?
No, this was real. I'm 100% sure it was real. She just kept walking down the side street. So when I went out the front of my house, I turned left, and that would take me to the side street where she was walking. So by the time I got down and everything, she was already like halfway down the block, right? That side street. So she was pretty far distance. But I was yelling at her at the top of my lungs, like, do you need help? Is something wrong?
So she didn't disappear or anything. She just kept walking.
She just kept walking.
But she didn't answer you.
No, she had an umbrella. She was just walking in the middle of the hurricane, walking down the street, just kept walking. And I just saw her go away. And I
didn't doing in the middle of a hurricane.
Enjoying the rain.
I didn't chase her.
It's not abnormal.
I didn't chase her. I was about to, but then it was so windy. I was afraid a tree was going to fall on me or something because it was a hurricane. So
and what time of night was this?
This was like at 11:30 at night.
She never answered.
She never answered me. She just kept walking. I saw her
yelling help.
And it was like in like help.
So maybe she was a little bit mentally unstable.
I think so. I think maybe something was wrong.
Maybe
she had like
I don't mean that as an insult,
like
but
Alzheimer's or dementia.
Was she older or younger?
Maybe she was just singing a Beatles song, "Help," and that's all you kept hearing the shout. Help! Need somebody help!
She
Help.
definitely. I mean, because I couldn't see, I would say she had blonde hair, but she could have had white hair, and she could have been older. But she wasn't. It wasn't like she was walking like an older person where they're bent and like their joints hurt. She was walking.
Probably hard to gauge.
She was walking slow, but straight. Standing up straight. But she just kept walking away, yelling, help, help, help. And she never heard me call out to her.
She never heard you. You didn't want to take the risk to run down the street and like get in her face and say, stop yelling help. What do you need? You just said, "Now, fuck that. I got to the end of the road. I'm going back in. It's raining."
So that, or you just call 911 and you say, "There's some weirdo out in a hurricane. Somebody might want to check it out."
Low IQ points that night.
Yeah, we just got a call from a neighbor. Somebody's saying, "Do you need help? Do you need help?" She's the weird one.
Somebody.
The neighbors just saw you yelling, Monica.
Oh God, I hope not.
Right
I
now,
hope she was real.
They're telling the story the other way from your, seeing your perspective.
Crazy woman. So I'm 51. This was 10 years ago. So I was 41. I wasn't that old. So I didn't look that old.
I didn't mean you were old, Monica. I just thought it was funny.
So,
you're the weirdo out in the hurricane asking, "Do you need help?"
I don't know what I was thinking. I guess I just had it in my head that she was calling out for help. And I felt bad that my neighbor's mother had died the year before.
Yeah, I stayed with you, so you wanted to handle this
situation
differently.
I wanted to hear her help. I wanted to help her out. So that's
good,
my
Monica.
scary
You're a good
story.
Samaritan, Monica. That is kind of creepy.
I risked my life going out there.
Yeah, there's some creepiness. Yep.
That was creepy. I never found out who that woman was, by the way. Never. And I've looked around my neighborhood.
And if she survived.
I don't know.
Right.
She had an umbrella, so at least she had that going for her.
Yeah, but in a hurricane, an umbrella sometimes isn't a whole lot of protection. Maybe she was a ghost.
I don't know. I don't believe in ghosts, but...
Maybe she wasn't real. Maybe she was a ghost.
You don't believe in ghosts, Monica?
Nah.
Yeah.
Oh, boy, I do.
Nope.
Totally.
Nope.
So I guess I have had experiences.
I totally believe in ghosts.
But anyway, that's kind of different than the creepy you had in mind, right?
No, I've actually had those kind of things happen to me when I was a custodian, when I was like 19 years old. I worked at the Votech in town.
Late night.
Yeah, I was working the midnight shift.
Empty hall.
And yeah, it was creepy, right? I go up, the first story, I'll make it real quick. I went up they had an auditorium and it had a catwalk around the top. And the one guy that was in charge of that building, he said to me, he goes, "You ever been up there?" I said, "No." He says, "Well, let's go up there and check it out." So I climbed up there and he was like, "Oh, hold on a second. I got to do whatever you got to do." So I get up and I turn around and I can see the length of the catwalk that goes all the way out over the auditorium. And there were some curtains in front of where the sound stage was up at the top. And I see this black shadowy figure like looking at me and then kind of go behind the curtain. Right. And I was like, okay, maybe that was just my imagination. That was creepy. So I said, "Dave, you coming up here?" He goes, "Yep, coming up." So I turn back around and as I'm looking, the shadow figure is back in the same spot, but looking at me and I can't see a face. All I could see is this black shadow. And I see the curtain literally getting drawn in front of the face. Like he was like kind of like leaning back and going behind the curtain. And at that point, I was like, "Oh my God, there's somebody up here." So I told them like real, like kind of be a smart, Dave, forget it. I don't want to come down. So when I got to the bottom of the stair, I was like, there's somebody up there. So we called the cops. That's how sure I was somebody was up there. And the cops went up, and we didn't leave the area. It's not like we left the area. We stayed at the bottom of the ladder, the stairwell, in case somebody did come down. And the cops went up there, and there was nobody there. So I'm telling you, I do believe that there's some weird shit out there. If it was somebody else telling the story, I'd be like, you're full of shit. There's no way that happened.
You're like, I saw
But
it. With my
I
own
saw
two
it.
eyes.
I'm telling you, it was creepy.
Yeah.
And in that same building, we used to sleep on the couches like it was midnight, right? So we'd get our stuff done and we just sleep on the couches in the teachers' lounges and stuff. So one day my buddy was laying on one couch and I'm laying on the other couch. And he's like, dude, are you going to pick something out of that vending machine or not? You're driving me crazy walking back and forth in that light. And I said, dude, I'm right here. And he jumped up. He goes, there's somebody freaking walking back and forth in front of that thing. And there was nobody in there.
Oh my goodness.
Oh boy.
Wow. And he wasn't on any kind of like hallucinogenic drugs.
No. And I'll tell you right now, this is the start. This was the creepiest one that same building. This is the last one I have. This girl, I was in a band, this heavy metal band we talked about, right? And there was a girl that used to hang out with us, and one of her best friends was killed in a car accident. And she went to that Votech, and I didn't know who she was. So the one day I went down to the gymnasium, and the gym teacher used to have all these yearbooks stacked up. So I went in there and I looked up the person, I was looking for the person just to see what she looked like. And while I was looking, I see this picture, and I read the name, and it was her. But the minute before I even read the name, I saw this picture, and I get this whiff of like perfume. Now the teacher that was the gym teacher smoked like a chimney, and this is back in the day where you could smoke in your offices and stuff. And in the middle of that smoke, I smelled this sweet smell of perfume. It was like weird. So I wound up leaving. I was like, that's too creepy for me. And I went back and did my stuff. But I was at band practice that week, and our friend came over, and she was just distraught about it and everything. And I said, oh my God. I said, it was so weird. I was telling her that story, and she starts crying. She's like, I'm going to be right back. So she goes, she leaves. We're practicing. She comes back and she goes, is this what you smell? And she gives me her wrist, and I was like, no, that's not what I smell. She's like, okay, because this is just one of the perfumes that I had. She goes, well, what about this one? And she puts it on her neck, and I lean over and I smell her neck. It was the same exact smell I smelled in that office. And I go, that's the smell. And she said, she starts crying hysterically. And she says, I went to her house the other day, and her mom said, take what you want. I know you love that perfume she used to wear all the time, so you should take her perfume. So I literally smelt the same perfume on her neck that I smelt in that freaking gym locker room. It was freaky. Yeah. So
That is
I believe
freaky.
that there's something out there. So
Oh yeah.
I mean, to make me think of like last night, I had not a scary ghost story, but a scary episode. I was out
your
walking.
vibrator ran out of batteries.
No, Brian, I know that's terrible. Mine is rechargeable, by the way. But still, I have to remember to charge it because I have forgotten to charge it sometimes, and then this stupid thing dies. Yeah.
Yeah, I got smart enough to get one that I can use while it's plugged in.
Oh, I have. Yeah, it's just a small cable. That's all. Anyway,
Okay, we're about to
I was
start
thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Here it comes.
Anyway.
Here it comes, Tess.
But anyway, I was out walking my maniac dog last night, and as I'm walking him, there was this. I was passing this cul-de-sac that was not well lit in my neighborhood. And I'm walking with him, and all of a sudden he starts just going crazy, like with the growling and the pulling at the leash. And I'm like, what the heck, dog? What are you doing? And he didn't stop. So I realized, okay, he's seeing something I'm not seeing.
Was it a lady in an umbrella?
No. I looked, I couldn't see because it was too dark. And I just kept looking. What is he looking at? What does he see? And he just kept growling at it. And I looked, and there was some type of shadowy animal, like walking in the middle of the street. And it
The
was
Jersey
big.
Devil?
Nah, I don't think so. But it was big. It could have been a loose dog, somebody's loose dog, but it was a big creature, and it was coming towards us. And I was like, oh God, because my dog is a maniac. He will not back down. He will fight and attack and do whatever he has to.
So you got attacked by a shadow figure?
No, what I did was I started yelling at it because I saw it was coming towards me.
You're yelling, are you okay? Are you okay?
It was just a shadow figure. And I just I started yelling like, don't come near us. Like, I don't know, trying to scare it. I know it didn't understand me, but I was just trying to yell it to scare it away. And it worked because I kept walking with my dog, who kept like pulling at going in the opposite direction. And it deterred whatever animal it was.
Monica, I'm starting to think your neighborhood's fucked up.
I think so too.
I had myself,
That's fine.
we were talking about like scenarios now, right? Those were like the ghosty kind of weird stories. But I was telling you guys, a situation I was in. I went to Europe. I won tickets to go to the PGA British Open, or the Open they call it. And I took my buddy with me, and this was a couple years back. And we were in Edinburgh, Scotland, and I have this knack to find dirty massage places no matter where I go, right? So before I left for the trip, I broke my toe. So the doctor said to me, you can either stay home, we can fix the toe, we can be miserable, you could stay home, or you can go on the trip, because we had 2 rounds of golf, we had everything set up, and you could be in pain, but at least you'll be in pain on vacation. So I was like, oh, fuck that, I'm going on vacation in pain. So I walked around with a cane. So me and my buddy were walking through Edinburgh. I go, I found this place on Craigslist, or it was Backpage or something like that. And I said, I'm going to go check it out. And he's like, bro, we're in the middle of Edinburgh. It gets dark out at 11 o'clock at night, but the streets are completely empty right when it gets dark, right? So if you've ever been to Edinburgh, it's just all stone and castle looking places, and it echoes when you walk. You walk with a cane and you hear footsteps and click, footsteps click, right?
Jeez.
So here we are walking. He goes, this is so fucking creepy. I said, yeah, I don't know why I put myself in these situations. So I get there and he goes, well, I'm not sticking around. I'm going back to the hotel. And I was like, all right. So I find a place and I open up the door. It was like a big old hotel where these doors were like 10 feet high. And they were like double doors. I pulled them open and there's this huge, like red rum, the shining hallway in front of me. And there's these massive staircases. Now, these buildings are, hundreds of years old, right? So I go up to the second floor and I go through these wooden doors. And as soon as I get into the hallway, I see this little head sticking out of one of the doors, like halfway down the hall. And she's giving me the wave sign, like, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. So I got this cane. All I hear is click, click, boom, click, click, boom, click, click, boom. So I get into the room and I'm in this room and I said, look, I'm sorry. There was doors everywhere. It was just this creepy ass room. So I told her, I'm going to have to check the room. I don't trust this. Here I am. I don't trust, right? I'm the idiot putting myself in this situation, right? So I'm opening up doors. I'm looking under the bed. I'm doing all this stuff. So finally, we go through the whole routine of it all. I'm there for a little while. I leave and I'm walking out and I call my buddy up and I was like, hey, come meet me. He goes, I ain't fucking going out there. It's like 12:30 at night now. He's like, there's no way. So I had to walk back to the hotel, which is about,
by yourself?
Yes. And it was raining.
Oh
it was pouring rain. And I wasn't yelling, help. Maybe,
I hope it was worth it.
Yeah. Nobody was asking me for help, Monica. I could tell you that. But here I am limping with a cane and I get back to the room. Yeah, it was worth it, by the way, Tess. I get back to the room and my buddy says to me, I cannot believe the lengths that your penis will go through. Right? The situations that you will put yourself in for a piece of ass, basically. It's like
for that happy ending.
Yes, you're in a foreign country. Okay, you're walking through the middle of Edinburgh and just to find a piece of ass, So yes, there
that is crazy.
Is situations that I put myself in. I think to myself, what am I doing? But I don't think about it until after I finish the deed.
Yeah, because you're thinking with your dick until you finish.
Exactly.
Would you do that now?
That point. Would I do that now?
If you were single, would you do that?
Yes, 100%. If I was single, yes, I would totally do that again. I know I would. I know exactly what I would do. I used to go to Taiwan all the time on business and stuff, and I would always find what I needed. They'd come to my room.
So, wait a minute. So, are you finding these things because you're looking on sites that are notorious for them, or do you just, how do you know?
So here's the funny part. In Taiwan, this is going to sound crazy, right? I just looked in the newspaper. They give you the daily newspaper that used to come to your door.
Yeah.
And I would look in there and it would always be in English. Because they don't, I don't know if Chinese people don't do that, but.
What would they say in English?
Girls.
Seriously, what would it say?
Massage.
Oh.
Massage. Girls, come to you, come to you. It got to the point where I was there and I would call the number and they're like, oh, Mr. Brian.
Brian.
Do you think they do it for girls too or just guys?
Oh, I'm sure they would do it for girls.
They'll do it for anybody.
If you got money, they'd do anything. Yeah. And
Wow.
then, while they're,
Interesting.
and it's so funny because it's so transactional. They come in, they clean up for a little bit. They come in, they just immediately want to start. There's no foreplay. There's no nothing. It's like, I got to get done with
There's
this.
no conversation.
So I could move on to the next person.
It might be controversial, but I kind of understand that transaction of money, of sex.
I do too.
understand
I
sex
agree.
as a transaction.
I
totally do, because there's something about touch. And I remember one time I went to a massage place that was it was an Asian variety. I don't know which one, I'm sorry to say. But I went, and the guy that massaged me didn't speak any English, and I didn't speak his language, and his hands felt so good on my back. And I remember laying there thinking,
touch my ass. Touch my ass.
No, I wasn't thinking that. I was just thinking, I understand why people pay for touch, because it's just a human need.
Right. Well, I'm paying for touch. I'm looking to pay for touch
way.
plus. Let's put it.
Well, you know what I mean. That's what I was talking about, that kind of touch, when I said, when I understand why people pay for touch, because it's like, if you don't have it any other way, I can understand
it's
it.
a
If there's
fact.
no muss, no fuss, no bullshit, no drama.
Right. So
I totally get that. I get
yeah,
it.
when I was in massage
That's
school
all.
and I started doing all that massage, like I worked at the spa and everything, a lot of people that would come in, and we were taught this in massage school, you're going to get a lot of people that are completely overweight, like hairy as a dog,
Yeah.
like 90
Yep.
years old, and it's because people don't touch them. They don't care about
Yes.
the massage.
Makes
They
sense,
just
yeah.
want human contact for 60 minutes,
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense.
and it's true. Like,
It makes a lot
I
of
think
sense.
I may have spoke on this on one of the previous episodes. Stop me if I have. But like when I was doing massage, I had a 90-year-old woman come, or an 80-year-old woman come in, and she was on the table, and she was as skinny as you could be, and frail. And I was just basically what they call it, effleuraging her, just massaging and stroking and everything.
Like,
and she
yeah.
just starts crying. Now, we were warned about this. They have like emotional releases.
Mm-hmm.
And they tell you just step away, ask if they're okay. Can you get them some water, and tell them, I'll leave the room. I'll give you a minute. So when I said that, she's like, no, don't go. Can I talk to you? And I was like, yeah, this is, no problem. Do whatever you want, whatever makes you comfortable. Well, she was a concentration camp survivor.
Oh.
And
Oh, wow.
she was telling me about the atrocities that happened. And I don't know if she was in Auschwitz or if she was in Dachau, but she saw her parents killed. And so I said, can I go get your granddaughter? And she says, yeah. So her granddaughter sat in the room with me and she was telling us both all of this stuff growing up and how she got taken away, and serious, like the Anne Frank stories, right? Hiding underneath the floorboards, hiding in outhouses, just like trying to get away from the Nazis. And we sat there together, her granddaughter and I, and we were in tears listening to this person. And we're like, I was apologizing, like, I'm so sorry for crying. This was your experience. Like, she's like, no, it's okay. It's okay. You feel, you have feelings, right? And her granddaughter afterwards, like, so this woman wound up coming back to me like 4 or 5 more times. And she would.
Did she talk the whole time, or she come for massage?
She came for massage. She would relax a little while, and then she would just start talking. And she would, and and after that, she didn't really talk about the camp. She would talk about her life growing up, and like when she got out when the war ended, and how she was, and we wound up like having this little like friendship type thing. But yeah, she came back over and over again, and her granddaughter would come with her all the time and tell me she does not do this with anybody. Like, she would never do this with any.
She
felt
safe.
so comfortable with you. And I'm thank God that I had the training I had to recognize what was going on. But I fell for it. But you're right, Tess. Like, human touch is a big thing. Is it scary and creepy? Did we go off the end on it, just tangent a little bit? But
well, that's okay.
No,
That's what we
I
do.
have to agree. It's the thing I miss the most. Above all the things,
Yeah.
the thing I miss the most about, and the thing I have about being lonely or alone, is human touch.
yeah, I agree.
Sometimes you don't even realize how much you miss it until you get it again.
It's true.
Like, and then you're like, oh boy, how did I do without this?
Yep. Like, cause I know every night when I like go to bed, like Em will be sleeping next to me, and like she'll be reading a book or something, and I'm telling no, and I make her assume the position so I could spoon, and then I pass out.
And then she can resume reading if
Then
she
she starts
wants.
snoring and wakes me up anyway, but but that's the comfort of it, right? It's not sexual, it's not anything. It's just the comfort, the warmth coming off of them, Pretty cool feeling.
Yeah. Wow.
I had sorry.
Do you have another scary story?
Well, same massage thing. This was back when I was in Jersey. I just remember I went to this one place, and I would go to Asian massage parlors all the time when I was younger. It just was simple, right? If I was in between girlfriends or wives, like we just Just like trying to, like you said, looking for that human touch. You're not with anybody for a while. It wasn't like the old days. You go to the bar, pick somebody up, take them home. As you got older, it wasn't as available, right? But I remember going one time to this place I found on Craigslist. I get down. It was right on Easton Avenue, Monica, by the way. And I go into the place and I see this. There was a white woman there. So it turns out that these are like Russians now. So now I'm terrified. Nope. Here's the thing about going to the massage places, right? First of all, you're not telling anybody, oh, I'm going to get a massage. That's like a secret, right? Mm-hmm. So nobody knows where you're at. I parked the car 3 blocks down the road so nobody sees me parked in the parking lot, right? I walk in there, I see this woman. And when I get into the room, she was so direct. Like there was a woman behind the glass and she's like, go to that room. So I go to that room and I'm in there and the girl comes in there. You been here before? And I was like, no, I've never been here before. She's like, okay, this is the menu. Look at the menu. Tell me what you want. And I was like, now I'm feeling bullied, right? Like no means no, right? So I get on the table. She's like,
you needed a safe word?
I needed a safe word, right? So, and at the time, like I think I had like $80 on me. It was like 60 for the massage. I thought 60 for the massage, 20 for the happy ending, like the tip, $20 for the tip, and I'm leaving. Never been to a Russian place before. Well, when I get there, the menu was like 200 for this, 600 for this. And I was like, oh my God, now I'm terrified. I'm thinking to myself, if I go in there and tell this girl, I can't afford the menu or I got $20 to spend, she's going to take it out in kidneys. Like somebody's going to come in and they're going to hold me down. So I basically, I took my shirt off. I said, I just need a shoulder rub. So it cost me $80 for a 15-minute shoulder rub.
Oh my God.
No.
Oh my God.
Because I was terrible. I never even took my pants off. I literally
guess the Russian menu cost more than the Vietnamese menu.
Yes, the whole thing, right? And I was terrified, thinking to myself, they're gonna, take my organs. They're gonna throw me in the canal right across the street. No one's gonna weigh me down with sinkers or something.
Nobody would never know what happened to you.
No one's ever gonna know what happened to me. They're just gonna find my car.
They kind of need a reason, don't they?
Yeah.
Were you afraid the reason was gonna be she didn't have enough money on you?
It was just I've never been to a Russian, and you hear horror stories about these, right?
The important thing was, how was the massage?
I was
you had $200 on you?
No, I was terrified the whole time. I was literally terrified.
You're like, let me get out of here with my life.
Yes, that's why I said, oh, okay, that was really good. Thank you. Here's the 80.
Oh
Bye.
my God.
Oh my goodness.
And she just said goodbye. And it was like,
and you never went back.
Oh my God. And I think that place wound up closing down a couple months later. But
you think?
I thought about it. I was like, God, you don't tell anybody where you're going. So if God forbid something happens to you, you're like, no one's ever going to know. There'll be like, suspicions. I'll be on that true crime, and a lot of my buddies will be like, he was at a massage parlor. Somebody took his organs. I put myself in some pretty weird, situations that could have totally been avoided.
It's funny because, as much as I like sex and all, my safety goes above my orgasms. For real.
Well,
I could never do that.
Well, part of the excitement, like you talked about, like when I was joking around with you when you said when this guy's hands were on you, on your back, and I said, oh, put him on my ass. Well, that's exactly what I'm thinking.
Yeah. And this guy was like, he was not young either. He was an older guy, but I don't know. He had strong hands. It just felt really good. And I just remember thinking in that exact moment, I remember thinking, I get it why I do. I get it.
Yeah. And it's funny because I think back because I don't go to massage places anymore. I mean, thank God, because I spend money in a casino now. I don't have the time to go to those places. But like when I was going, I think about all of these scenarios I put myself in and all over the place, no matter where I went. I went to go visit you, Tess. I found a place. You know what I mean? Like I go to Florida. I find a place. I go, no matter where I go.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. How do you know? How do you know it's that kind of
first of all, I know that Brian and I have driven around in his car and I go, what about that one, Brian? He goes, that's dirty. What about that one, Brian? That's okay. What about that one, Brian? That's dirty.
How do you know?
Because there's a huge neon sign that says open at 11:30 at night.
That's how you know? That's the only criteria?
It's pretty much the only, because right now it's really hard. You got to go on like what I do is I go on, like I would go on Asian massage near me. And then there's a thing called Rub Maps.
You mean that's a website?
Yes, there is.
I'm sorry, there's a thing called.
It's called what?
There's a website called Rub Maps.
Oh my god.
Okay. So
definitely never heard of that one.
If you subscribe to it, if you look it up right now, you can say there, you can find the places in your area, and they're all blurred out. You have to pay a subscription. But back when I was going on Rub Maps, you got at least 6 or 7 free looks before you had to subscribe and get the rest of the the reviews. So from that point, you can go on Rub Maps and just see which places are available in your area. And it's pretty safe to say that they're dirty. So that was a really great place to go on. But like when I was going, like it didn't matter where I went. I can't think of a place where I've ever been that I didn't find like one of those places, whether it be on like Craigslist or Backpage or all of those places.
Well, Backpage is for stuff like that, or no?
Yeah, well, it was big. Like it was Craigslist was the big thing until people started killing everybody on it, right?
Yeah.
And then they said, okay, we're not doing it anymore. So Backpage kind of filled in the gap. So you could find all this stuff on Backpage, but then they got wise to that, so they stopped doing that. But Rub Maps, if you want to subscribe to it, it will show you all these different places.
So is it like just massage places, or is it specific massage places?
It's supposed to be specific massage, but yeah, if you're looking for happy endings and stuff like that.
Wow. Interesting. That would be an interesting experiment to conduct sometime to see if I can figure that
Well,
out.
what I had said to you once before, Tess, I think, well, why don't you go with me to one of these places and then you tell me if they did anything to you?
But do you have to ask for it?
Well, I mean, for guys, they just kind of, they joke around with you, right? Like, I know you guys are listeners.
See how you
Our
respond.
listeners can't see this, but I'm doing the jerk you off motion.
Yeah.
Right.
They do this to you. They look at you or they put their finger over their mouth like, shh, and they do this.
Yeah.
And then they just do like, do the sucky thing.
I've been to a massage place where it's Asians who gave the massages, and I never got asked that.
Well, let me just say this for the record. There is a lot of legitimate Asian, not all Asians do this.
They don't all do that.
There's a place that Em and I go here that they're Asian and they're wonderful and they do not even come close to that.
Yeah.
You can't even take your underwear off.
Yeah. The place that I referred to, I don't believe is that kind of place either. The place where I said I had that guy massage me, I don't believe that's that kind of place either. But I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Like, but there are things where like, there's like the unwritten rule is kind of like, when you're on your back. Well, for guys, when you're on your back and there you are just fully erect, you don't have to say anything. There's the answer, right?
But some guys, okay, wait a minute. Couldn't some guys get erect but not be expecting a happy ending?
I think that if you're a guy going there, you're expecting a happy ending. I'm sorry. Especially,
really?
Let me say this, the places that I would find, if you're a guy, you're expecting something. Sorry. Am I wrong, Demetrius? Have you ever gone to one? No. No, I got better things to spend my money on.
Didn't seem like his speed.
No, you know what it is? I'm too afraid of ending up on the news, just being walked out. Like, I didn't know.
You were hanging out with Robert Kraft? He said I could get free tickets to the game.
Oh my God. Yeah, I think we surpassed creepy a long time ago. This is just kind of interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm like,
I'm creepy. Trust me. It was
you first told me.
I'm bringing up.
No, your experiences were creepy, but like the conversation now has just turned into like, I'm just kind of like interested in how this all like unfolds. That's all. I remember, what was that show that, Jennifer Love Hewitt did?
Oh, with Sigourney Weaver,
like
where they were the con artists?
No, I don't remember Sigourney Weaver, but it's just, to me, it's just all very interesting how this all unfolds because I'm such an innocent when it comes to stuff like that.
When it comes to stuff
I'm
like
not innocent
that.
ever. Well, I mean, like going somewhere, paying for it, like that kind of thing. When I say something like that, I mean
Tess,
obviously I'm not innocent.
Some massage places have 4-handed massage. You could have 2 women massage you at the same time.
Really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I did mention in a prior episode that I was interested in being with 2 girls at
Back
once.
when I lived at home years ago, I used to go to a 2-handed massage and everything. And they used to get mad at me because they expected me to tip twice, like the 2 different. I was like, wait a minute, man. I was going to give you 40, so now you get 20 and you get 20.
Yeah, you bring her in, then you split the money.
That's right. You split it.
Yeah.
But no, I have to say there was something else I was going to say too, and I completely forgot what it was.
Does anybody have any more scary stories? I can't think of any.
Well, yeah, that was it. Thank you, Dee. The client list. That was it. I liked that show. It was an interesting show.
I don't even know what that is.
I never saw it.
Oh, Jennifer Love Hewitt worked in a massage parlor where they dressed in lingerie and they, yes.
Was that a
finished
TV
off.
show? Not a reality show.
Yeah, it was a TV show for a while. No, it was a TV show. It was not a reality show.
Oh.
Here's the other weird part about the massage places. I would go so often to some of them that like I formed relationships with the girls.
You go back and see the same person over and over then.
And the one girl, she was married. She was an Asian girl, beautiful Asian girl. And I would go visit her over and over again. And it took a while to build that trust and that relationship. But it got to the point where while I was in there, like I would still tip. It was like a transaction, but like we were having sex on the tables. We were doing everything you could think of on these days. And I knew this woman for like, after like I was going there for probably about 5-6 years.
Oh,
consistently.
Wow. Yeah. So there's a connection there.
Oh yeah. And she was gorgeous. She was absolutely gorgeous. And I'm still friends with her to this day. But like the fact of the matter is like we had this like behind the scenes. I was married. She was married. And I remember my wife called me out on it one time. She said, I know you're fucking blah, blah, blah. I was like, what are you crazy? And I was like, holy shit.
Oh, wow.
Sixth Sense kicking in hard. Wow.
But you were probably going to the massage place too many times.
Oh yeah. Oh my. Well, I would just say I'm going here. I wouldn't actually say. And I think about is every time I would go, it was like $100.
Oh my
It was
goodness,
60 and 40, right? And I think about over the years how much money I've spent on these things. I'm like, oh my gosh.
There's your house,
I could have a lot of money. There's my house. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? Everybody has their guilty pleasure, and I don't even mean that like sexually. I just mean that the stuff women spend on beauty.
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
Oh, I get it,
like,
Tess.
I buy like
it's like everybody's got something they spend.
I don't really need it.
If you work hard, there's this. If you work hard, you should be able to spend some money on something that brings you joy.
But here's the problem: I was still doing it on the side for free with other people, but I kept going back to the massage thing because it was an addiction. Like you said, that touch.
Okay. Oh, that's a whole different
yes,
shtick.
the
If it's
touch, and I was so addicted to it. You know what I mean? Like you'd start, you knew what to expect. You knew the routine. You knew what it was going to come down. You knew exactly when they were going to start tickling around the butthole. And then it just started from there. Demetrius is like, I want to go
tickle
so
around
bad.
the butthole. That's funny. So do you want to get back? Do you have any other creepy stories? Or is that?
Well, no, those weren't creepy enough for you.
No, I'm just saying,
Just
like,
kidding.
I didn't want to, like, we kind of digressed as we normally do, or like went off on a tangent about the experience, and I just didn't want to like lose our topic if there was more to share.
No, I think when I brought up the topic with Dee, we were talking about it, and then like you said, we talked. I think that was kind of where I wanted to go, like the situations that you would put yourself in that were creepy.
Yeah.
Like in other words, if you were a girl and you decided to go on a blind date in the woods up for a picnic, you know what I mean? Like,
fuck that.
You know
what I mean?
But yeah.
That's the kind of things I was thinking, right?
I mean, it is funny too, because when I went on my first, not blind date, but met the first girl I ever hooked up with, I met her at a bar and I left with her in her car the night I met her from the bar. And I would have never done that with a man that I just met at a bar. Like I never get in a guy's car, but I got in her car. I felt less threatened for some reason.
Yeah. And you don't know if there's some dude in the trunk.
I didn't know, but I had been back and forth with her on, a site for a while and emailing, and by the time I met her and we were there for a couple hours, I don't know, I felt safe.
Right.
But...
Well, I get it. But like say Dee was mentioned, right? He doesn't want to be a statistic. He doesn't want to be on the news, right? But like the truth of the matter is I remember because my sister worked at this place and she's like, my boss rented out the upstairs to these Asians and we think that there's dirty massage going on out there. She's like, well, you want to go check it out for us? So I was like,
it's like everybody knows you know how to spot them, Brian.
You got a sense.
My whole family knows. Like, I don't lie about shit. So I was like, I go there one day after hours. I get up there and it turns out I came the next day. I told her, oh my God, it's dirty. And I said, and it's a good dirty one too. Let me tell you something. This isn't just like, we'll just, do this, but they did everything, right? So the kicker of it all. So the two things that came out of it, they said that they raided the place about cause I guess the boss had told them. And so the cops set up a sting there. So they raided the place about like 2 months later. They arrested a bunch of guys. One of the guys' kids was a patient at the office where my sister was working. The father was the daughter was a patient. The guy got the wife divorced him. She took away. He lost his job because he was all over the news.
Wow.
So what happened was they started realizing that the pipes weren't working and everything. So it was in the house, right? It was in a big ass house where they could rent the upstairs. So they had the plumber come in and they said, "Oh, there's a blockage and everything like that." So they had to have the township come in, shut off the water. They go in there, they open up the pipes. There's nothing but towels and condoms and everything all being flushed down the toilet.
That's terrible.
Yeah, so it's creepy. It's, as I said, the situations that I used to put myself in is nuts. I was addicted.
Yeah. I had a weird experience once that it completely changes this conversation because I had somebody pull me out of the ocean when I was drowning once, and I don't think he was real. I think he was a spirit. Oh. So that was kind of interesting.
Did you have an umbrella?
No umbrella. Surfboard, actually. Oh. Surfboard. Oh. I was in the ocean and I was drowning. I was losing my footing to the what do you call that?
Sand? Waves?
The waves, yeah. The undertow. Okay. That's what it was. And I was a latter teenager and I was older teenager and I was in a bikini and I don't know who I was there with and I don't know where they were. But I was losing control and I was struggling. And this guy reached his hand out to me and he had like longish brown hair and he had the white, sunscreen on his nose. And he pulled me all the way to the shore and I just by the hand. And as he pulled me out, I had to readjust my top, right? So I readjusted my top, literally looked around for him and he was fucking vanished.
Oh, jeez.
You readjusted it for him to see nipple?
No, I wasn't flashing him. I was trying to fix it because it had gotten displaced while he dragged me out of the water. And so I looked up the beach. I looked down the beach. I looked everywhere. I looked in the water. I scanned the water because I'm thinking maybe he jumped back in the water with a surfboard. The guy had vanished. I'm convinced to this day that he wasn't real.
That's creepy.
How long did it take you to readjust?
Not that long. That's my point. It was super quick. I adjusted and I looked everywhere. Even if he had ran off, he wasn't, because I looked up to thank him.
Or even if he went into the waves or something.
I looked. How long would he stay under? He had a surfboard. He wouldn't have been all the way under. And I just looked and looked and looked and looked and I couldn't find him anywhere. And I'm like, this guy wasn't fucking real. That's just what I deduced. Right or wrong, that's what I deduced. It wasn't my time to go.
Demetrius, what are you giggling at over there?
She got saved by Aquaman. That's what that was.
A mermaid.
Long brown hair.
A merman.
Damn, Dave, if that's the case, I'm going to go out there and fake a drowning.
Oh, no. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't say, I don't know if I'd put it in the creepy category, but it was just definitely something
It's pretty scary when you're drowning and you can't get out of the water.
Creepy. And I agree, that undertow is serious.
No, that was creepy, but I'm saying the fact that he, it wasn't creepy. I wasn't in a scary space or, it was the fact that he may not have been real was just kind of cool, I thought.
Yeah, that is kind of cool.
Maybe it was just a guardian angel or something took human form and.
Is it one of those things where you just recomposed yourself and went back in the water and said, fuck that, I'm done, I'm going to the beach?
I don't know what the fuck I did afterwards. I have no recollection, to be honest with you.
She just remembers the
guy. I don't know. But I gotta tell you something. My sister was drowning when she was little and I went screaming up to the blanket to my mom and my mom's friend. And so I saved my sister's life because of that. And so there were a few things, I think, along the way that happened when I was little that made me not very interested in the ocean anymore, But
I don't go in the ocean either, but for Jaws reasons.
Yeah, that too. That's kind of scary.
I'm afraid of drowning. Yeah. I don't want to be bitten by a shark.
Afraid of getting eaten. Yeah. I watched that. What was that movie, Soul Surfer?
Yeah. Nope.
That was rough.
Yeah. For me, it'd be the version where they bite your penis off, right? Not a lid.
They go right after that. Yeah. It's not an appendage you want to live without. I live way too safe to have creepy experiences. No dark alleys. No bad neighborhoods.
I mean, I grew up in a rough neighborhood.
Where Monica grew up, that was creepy enough.
Yeah, I grew up in a pretty rough neighborhood.
Right.
I mean, we had an incident one time where the dog was barking because we had a multi-level home and our family lived in different levels of the house, and the dog was barking and we didn't know why. So my grandmother started looking around what's going on to see what was outside. And then at one point she opened up the curtain, and because she was on the first floor, and when she opened up the curtain, there was a man standing right outside the window looking, looking dead at her.
Oh, hell.
A real man. It wasn't a ghost.
Good Lord.
And she screamed like, oh,
when I was,
and then we called the cops because it was pretty.
Oh, yeah.
Was he delivering
scary.
milk, Monica?
No, no, we didn't find out. Oh, we had incidents where somebody, because we were in the bad neighborhood, and there were men who had broken into the house, and they were stealing stuff. And at that point, my cousins showed up at the house, and they were coming in the back door, and they were little. They were little. They were girls. They were young girls, and they came in through the back door. But at that point, it seemed like, because when they walked in, everything was destroyed. Like all the stuff had been, like, they had thrown everything everywhere.
Two little girls came in the back door?
Yeah, because we used to come home, Yeah, they came in the back door, and somehow, I guess the men didn't, because they were right there. They left right before my cousins walked into the house. I think the men thought, oh, somebody's coming home. They didn't know who it was. They thought probably it was an adult, and they ran off.
So those little girls nothing
happened to my cousins, but it was pretty scary because
that's creepy. Because I thought it was you, Monica. I thought somebody was telling me a story one time about some guy was under the bed when they got home.
No,
I forgot who it was.
That's not me.
They said they got home and their window was open and all this stuff. And there was a guy. He didn't do anything, but apparently he was like a creeper, and he was hiding under their bed. And he wasn't stealing anything. He wasn't doing anything, but it was just his fetish. And when he got arrested for this, and he had priors. But I thought it was you telling me, but I forgot who it was.
I know I told you a story about a guy they found in the closet. The girl kept complaining, saying she had a ghost in the closet, closet.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And people thought she was crazy, and she had all this anxiety and everything. And then she found out that there was this guy living in her closet wearing her clothes.
Jesus. It's just so creepy, Monica.
Jeez.
Oh, poor girl.
You open up the closet.
Going crazy.
You want to wear this today? You got this in size 15.
She just kept hearing noises, and she thought it was a ghost, and she kept complaining to everybody, "There's a ghost!" And then they found out that it was a guy living in her closet, using her clothes.
I got busted as a kid for walking into my friend's house when they weren't home, and they came home and I was there.
Oh,
just went to their house, knocked on the door. Nobody answered. I let myself in, and I was upstairs in the kids' room, like looking at their toys or something when they came home. Yeah, and they came home, and then of course brought me home and told my parents and all that. But yeah, that was kind of inappropriate. But when I was young too, like my grandmother on my mom's side used to babysit us. And my grandmother used, like, if it got dark and we still had the shades open, my grandmother would come in and say, "Shut those shades. You don't want any peeping Toms looking at you. They look at people through their windows." And she scared the holy crap out of us. And now to this day,
yes,
when it's dark, my blinds have to be shut.
Mine too.
I'm so weird about it. I'm
too.
like, the minute it starts to get dark, I'm like, she either shut the light off or close the blinds.
I do the same thing, Tess.
Too.
It was creepy.
Like that too. I don't get people who love to have their blinds open at night and let everybody see inside their house. I never get that.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, that's how Em is. She'll let anybody look in. She don't give a shit.
Oh, no.
She's so oblivious to it. And I'm like, no, fuck that.
Peeping Toms.
Close the blinds.
Big time. I can't think of anything else creepy.
No, I can't either. Just like I said, I got a whole bunch.
Like I said, I've had a bunch of creepy stories, but crime stories where I grew up. But...
Yeah.
Well, I thought this was entertaining. More fodder for people to think less of me. It's okay.
Well, you've talked before about the massage parlors. That's not new. But you never talked about your work as a massage therapist. That was interesting because I've never heard you. I don't remember you talking about that.
Strangely enough, I've never given a happy ending. Right? But I did have women, actually, not men, but I did have women, rub their legs together, and I had someone grab my arm and my hand and push it down there once before. And I was working at a reputable place, and I couldn't. And now the problem was, and I used to complain about this all the time, stop giving them alcohol. It's part of their spa package. You know what I mean? Oh, come in, you get this package. You get a bottle of champagne with your friends, and then you wind up getting these drunk people that get on your table. And they're going, I say, tell them go through the spiel, get under the sheet, undress to your comfort level. They go in there, they're butt naked, laying on top of the table with a big smile on their face when you walk in. I'm like, I'm going to put the sheet over you. No, it's too hot. I go, yeah, I know, but New Jersey state law mandates that I have to have the sheet over you. Oh, come on. Nobody's going to know. I was like,
and then you're like, yeah, I could get in trouble.
Yeah, it was interesting. But no, I don't have any other than that older woman and a couple of women that wanted to grab me and stuff like that. Nothing ever really happened. It was too reputable of a place and I didn't want to lose my job, plus it was my friend's spa.
How long did you do that?
For about 2 years. I would just do it like part-time because I always worked at where I'm working now, but I would just do it on the weekends or, just spend like 4 hours on a Saturday or something like that just for some extra money.
That's cool. It's a good skill.
I wish that was dirtier. I wanted to be like that movie. What was that movie back in the day with the kid with the order a pizza with extra anchovies?
Oh, Loverboy. Loverboy. I love that movie. That was such a good movie.
I wanted to be that guy, Monica.
But I think he only slept with only one or two of the women. Most of the women, he just gave them attention. Remember?
Yeah, that's fine. I would be okay with that. I wouldn't mind getting paid to give someone attention.
Mm-hmm.
Depends on the someone.
Well, I don't know. If you just have to give attention, I give attention to anybody. If I'm getting paid for
that one and Deuce Bigelow were great in that sense. That was funny.
I don't think I ever saw Loverboy. Who was in that?
Patrick Dempsey.
Yeah.
I think it was like his
You should watch it. It's
role.
cute. It's a cute 80s movie.
It's really cute. It's a cute 80s movie. It's like one of those, the 80s rom-com.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love those.
Well, I remember him in Don't Buy Me Love, but I can't.
Oh, yeah. Can't Buy Me Love. I love that movie.
That was cool.
That was a good movie.
Yeah, 80s had all those nice rom-coms.
Well, anybody got any closing thoughts? I would just say, don't do what I do.
And for the record,
you're not going to be anyone's life
advisor. No.
I have been to an Asian massage parlor, and they do not always offer happy endings, and that's fine by me.
That is true. So, that is true. I think for me, my closing comments would be I could have a little more adventure in my life. I think I could be a little less safe and I could have more fun.
Yeah, it's okay to be safe fun, right? But don't do what I do.
Safe fun. Yeah, like I said, I put my safety above my orgasms for sure.
Yeah, I do now.
Thanks for tuning in today as we talked about the unexplainable and the adventurous. Shout out to our producer, Dee, for conversations that inspire our show subjects and getting us on air every week. We love to hear about any sketchy situation or creepy stories you've experienced. We're totally down for a follow-up episode on this. Come on the show and share them. Or email us at 2.5chickspod@gmail.com. You can also find us on Instagram at 2.5chicks to stay up on what we're doing. We are winding down Season 3, but don't worry. We're gearing up on content for an upcoming Season 4. Don't go anywhere.